Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. And we are planning to conduct 5 to 6 session related to Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. Amazon Bedrock Agent Core is a newly announced service. And recently, if you have heard about the New York Summit, you could have seen there is a new service called Amazon Bedrock Agent Core released. And how we are going to structure this learning series is we are going to start with the basic of each of the components in the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. And in meanwhile, we will flow through some small examples. At the end, we are planning for one kind of showcase event where we build a couple of projects using Agent Core, couple of project work in progress, couple of project, very small projects, which is already completed. We are going to demonstrate that particular uh, projects on one of the session. We plan to conduct that as an in-person event around November 15. Anybody who is interested, feel free to subscribe for that event. It is already in a meetup.com/DevOpsLabs. Let us get into the today's session. So this is the first session part of the learning series. So first, what are the current challenges in Agentic AI world? Okay, so I played with multiple tools. If you would have seen the Bedrock Playground, Bedrock Agents, these are all good. When come to productionalize the AI agent, we are facing a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is deployment. So when you build an application, agentic application, when you want to do the deployment and you need to scale according to your requirement in a real-time manner without any errors or any issues, that is really a challenge. And there are multiple framework. You can see I worked on a LangGraph, Crew, LangChain. So a lot of frameworks. And recently I started playing around with the Amazon AWS Strands. You could have seen multiple blog posts from in a DevOps Labs on the Strands. And we have a lot of frameworks out there. And there is no unified way of deploying all those framework to the production. That is another challenge. Okay. Uh, of course, the third one, again, it is highlighting the same thing. You can test it locally, but the same testing code of the agent, how fast we can take it to the production, that is a big challenge. Okay. This is an industry-wide challenge. And okay, you have orchestrate this one. Okay. So if you are building an application among this agent K is one of the um, futures you are building it. Okay. If you want to expose this in an API, if you are exposing API, how do you do authenticate? How do you secure it? And what if it is slow down? Whether that API will scale? Those are the challenges we face. Okay. So these are all the common challenges uh, in agentic AI world. The agentic core is exactly addressing those issues, okay? And we will go through this session. At the end of the sixth session, we plan for this learning series. You have better understanding of what is agentic core or overall what is agent, okay? What is agent? How do we deploy it? How do we deploy it at scale? How do we monitor it? How do we add a memory to it? How do we connect with the multiple tools, external tools, okay? How can we scale this in production? You will learn, okay? And it's not theoretical. Whatever we are going to touch upon, everything we are going to go through some examples. Okay, so first component, let's touch upon the first component, what is runtime? That is what we are going to do today. Okay, so if you look at this runtime, right, as an application developer, you may develop your the agentic application locally. You can select your framework. You can use a LangGraph or Crew AI or Strands, anything you can develop locally, and you test it. It is working fine. You can, using this approach, using the runtime decorator, you can package it using a Bedrock app and package as a Docker container and you can push it to the ECR repository and deploy as a runtime agent, and you will have a dedicated endpoint for it. This is what we are going to do today. So it is completely serverless. There is no server is running. It's completely secured. It is powered by Cognito again, and you can use any framework as I mentioned. In today's session, we're going to touch upon one LangGraph and one from Strands. And again, it's a protocol compatibility. You can use your MCP, and you can directly integrate with your Bedrock. And you can you can take any of your models. You can connect with the Bedrock models, Bedrock models like your Cloud, Nova model, or if you want to directly integrate with the OpenAI model, you can use your OpenAI model. So that's a beauty of Agentic Core, okay? And it is completely open source. You can go and check it. And there is a Python SDK is what we are going to do today. And after you build this application, once you deploy the agentic core endpoint, you can use the butter tree to call from it. Let's say if in your workflow application, you build an agentic application, one of the flow need to call this one, you can keep as an a lambda function, which you can use the butter tree to call the agentic functionality as part of the runtime or as part of your workflow. This is what it the agentic runtime. Once we go deep into it, you will have today demo, you have better understanding of runtime. And after we completing, next 5 session is going to be touch upon this agentic core identity, then memory, gateway, observability we are going to touch upon slowly, and agentic core tools, agent core tools. Currently, the tools which you are building is the inbuilt tools, but agent core has a multiple tools. You can register the tools. You can act as the agent tool act as a tool registry. You can register and consume it. Okay, so that also we are going to check it. So this is what is needed to build the enterprise agentic AI application. Okay, today demo, yeah, I'm gonna take one Strands agent. If anybody don't know what is Strands agent, I will highly recommend you guys to read the blog. I can put the blog in the YouTube description and please have a look at it. It's a Strands is a high level I would say agent development framework. Okay. But it is open source by Amazon. So you can use the Strands to develop the agentic application. Okay. And you know LangGraph. LangGraph is a popular open source uh, agentic agent building application. Okay. These are the two things we are going to touch upon. Okay. This is a demo sequence. First, we set up an environment. Then we test our agent locally. I played around with multiple tools, but I'll go through very basic things. And we once we develop the agent locally, then we test the agent local. That is a third step. After we test the agent local, we will package that one and deploy it, uh, deploy it to the AWS. For that, we use Bedrock Agent Core app, which act as a decorator. Then we add an endpoint, which will create a URL. Then something we call it as an app.run, which will run and do the testing. Of course, whenever we are doing it, we need to do it in a secure manner. So we create an IAM role for it. Um, Once it's done, we will push it to the uh, ECR and validate. And again, we can launch the agent using a runtime.launch, which automatically push to these container and do the deployment and then validate. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. Let's start with our practical example. Okay. Let's go along. That's it. Okay. I'll walk you through one by one. So anybody who have questions, I'll put this link also. I taken from AWS examples. I made some modifications and I will show you guys whenever I will put this example also in. description, you can find it. Okay. So this is the architecture. First thing what we are going to do is we are going to create a two tools, and we are using a Strands agent, and we are going to use a Bedrock model to call. Okay. This is what exactly we are going to do. So first, I need to install all the libraries. If you go to the requirement, this is a Strands, and Strands also you have a lot of inbuilt tools. I saw last time when I'm checking, around 40 tools are there. If you are interested, I will show you the Strands also. Multiple blog, you have it in our DevOps Labs. DevOps Labs, no thanks. And if you go to the blogs, you can see, yeah. See, this is a Strands blog. You can take it. Okay. This is a multiple blog I have wrote. Um, so it's very basic. You can take this code. Okay, open source Python. You can take this code, and there is a multiple sample codes I have given here. You can practice this and you can deploy this and test it. Okay. So even after I do this one, right, figured out how to do the deployment. That's where I thought of Strands was going to be come with a lot of libraries to do the deployment, but all of a sudden I saw Amazon Bedrock Agent Core in the picture, which is doing this one. Strands is open source library, as I mentioned. Strands, AWS. You can, okay. So it has a new UI also. Okay, so this is the one. Feel free to look at it. Okay, let's go to the next one. In Bedrock Agent Core, Boto 3, Bedrock Agent Core, and Bedrock Starter Toolkit, which is needed for packaging and everything. These are the libraries we need to install. So if we go to this, we installed, we had tried to run this. I'm running a Python 3.1 version in my virtual environment. Okay. So once you've done it, this is the first file you have created. Okay, you can create it. Okay. So first, what we are trying to do is we are importing the Strands library. Then we are importing the calculator. And under the Strands, you can have multiple models. In my blog, I have tried with the OpenAI model, multiple models I tried. You can check whichever the model works for you. It's it's okay. So the next one, this is a tool. Here, creating a two tool. One is finding the day of the week. Any given day, it will find whether it is Wednesday or Thursday. It find a day of the week. Okay, that is the one tool. Another tool is unit convert. So you can keep the temperature or length or weight. So I always have confusion of my weight. Okay. All those things you can convert using this tool. These are the two tools which I have created. And then if you look at it, this is just a decorator, Python decorator. We're mentioning this as a tool. And the third one, what we are trying to do is we are using this model. This is where we are setting up the model, you see. I'm using a Bedrock model. If you want to use a different model, feel free to go ahead and use OpenAI model or whatever the model of choice you have. Post that, you can select the agent. So under that agent, you need to select the model and the list of tools. And what is a system prompt? It's a high-level system prompt. I just mentioned that you are a helpful agent, and you can find appropriate day of the week based on the given date. Also, you do the unit conversation. Let's choose the right tool based on what is needed. Okay. So here I'm giving the strands. Here I'm trying to invoke the agent. Okay, so I'm giving the agent. Now wrote this whole function. Okay, and I'm just trying to reuse this prompt. Okay, I store this file. I try to invoke this file. Okay, so invoke this file with this prompt as a payload. So use unit convert to convert so and so Fahrenheit and find the day of the week. So if you look at it, it is first trying to, this is what the ran. You let me find the day of the week. The day of the week is 6th September. I asked which is the day of the week. It mentioned as a Saturday. Yeah, will be Saturday. And for the 72 Fahrenheit, it is finding out it is a 22 Celsius. Okay. And these are all the tool it is used for the day of the week it used. Unit convert it is used for converting to the unit. So it invoked both the tools. Here, I am not deployed anywhere. So far, I just tested it, testing this locally. Okay. There are two tools I created, and then I'm using the model Bedrock model, and I'm testing it locally. Now, this is where quickly we can package it and deploy to the AWS using a Bedrock Agent core. There are three things I want to mention, which you can keep it in mind. The core app, okay, which is needed to create a runtime application, okay. Then there is a decorator to create the entry point for the function, okay. So for that, if you look at it, same, I've not made any changes. You can see this is a package. This one we have imported the Bedrock agent code, and then we created apps. We just keep creating the app here, and the tools remain same. The agent remains same. But if you look at here, we have created the entry point. Okay, this is where we are creating the entry point, and the same payload we are going to do the testing now. I rewriting the file called strandscloud.py file. It created the new file. Okay. What happened behind the scenes, right? It created a HTTP server and it started listening locally, which is 8080 port. And when I create the endpoint, it creates something called slash invocation. Whenever we are giving the prompt, it will invoke the invocation one. Okay. Also, it creates a slash ping for the health check, whether the agent is down or not, where for monitoring it, as well as it is important for the any asynchronous configuration you need to test it. Okay, so I gonna show that one while I'm in an observability tool when we invoke the API. Okay, so, so far we just try to package it. Now we need to create a runtime. We need to create the runtime to do the deployment. Okay, so first we need to create a IAM role. So it is sort of, if you look at it, we are creating this code. We are creating the IAM role. This is the agent name. With the prefix of the agent name, it is creating the IAM role. This is a role it is created. Sorry, this is a role created, and it's creating the policy. Automatically, it create the policy and attaching the policy. Okay. And now we are creating the runtime for it. Now we packaged it. Sorry. Now we create the app. For that, we need a runtime to do the deployment. For runtime, we need to package it and then deploy it. Okay, that's what we have to do. So for the package, it is very simple. We are importing the starter kit. What the starter kit will do, right? It will help you to package as a Docker container in a very seamless manner. Okay, so here, very simple. I created the runtime. You can see this is the runtime, AgentCore runtime. Here I'm giving the entry point. This is my Python file, and this is the execution rule, and automatically creating the ECR. And this is a requirement file. It's classic any applications, right? If you have done created any Python applications, you could have seen if you use a Flask or even using a fast API, you will give the entry point of your Python file. So the same way we are giving this one. And what is the agent name? Here we can give agent name plus two or whatever it is. You can give three or four, just naming and unique name. So we create this and we just apply. When we do this, it is automatically creating the file here .bedrock. 1 minute, I'll show you that. it automatically create a hidden file. But this file is what used for packaging. Okay, this is very important to know. The sample file is very important to. This is the name of the agent, and this is the entry point where the file exists. Restaurant. Okay, and what platform it is. It is covered, whether it is a Linux or anything, and how it is a container and of course Docker and IAM role. So everything you can see from here. Okay. I'm showing the code number. Feel free, sorry for it. Okay. And once it's done, it automatically create this file. Okay. It is not created by me. When we run this, it automatically create. So what happened post that is we are we just need to log in because it need to download some Python file and everything. So for that, you just need to um, log into your public easier access. Once it's done, you just need to click on you run this launch result and run the function called launch. Once you do the launch, it automatically package. If you look at this, it automatically package it and push to the ECR. Okay. And then you can do the testing. Okay. Whether it takes 15 minutes for the first time. If you do the packaging, it takes 15 minutes to 20 minutes to push the code. Once you are able to push the code, once you able to push the code, it automatically deploy to the ECR. Okay. And sorry, it push to the ECR and it create the endpoint. Okay, see, it is checking the status of the endpoint, and so I'll recapping the steps what we have done. Okay, so that you will understand the process in a high level what is happening. First, we build an agent locally, like how we do in the IDE. We develop the agent locally and we tested all go good. Then we went and checked, created an application to create an endpoint sorry, um, in order to do the runtime, to do the preparing your agent for the deployment, we creating the app and packaging that, and after this app is what will be packaged later. Then to do the deployment, we created an IAM role, then use a starter kit, which is with that we just need to give this agent give this information about the entry point, which file with Python file we are running, and IAM role and ECR and everything. And with that, using the launcher function, it automatically package it in as a Docker container, push it to the ECR, and then deploy it to the runtime, which is AgentCore runtime, and with that endpoint will come up. Okay, so now we deploy the after deploying, we are trying to check the same thing. Okay, now we are using the our AgentCore runtime directly, not locally. Directly we are checking out what is the day of the week. So it is says 12 December, and it is going to be a fall on Wednesday. Yeah, it is fall on Wednesday. That's what it's giving a result. And yeah, I'm giving on a markdown format. And this is the last test I have done. So this time I use the Boto 3. If you look at it, we are using the Boto 3 and use the agent core as a client. If you go, this is the agent core as a client. And we are calling the invoking that runtime directly. Every agent will come with the ARN. So if you go the launch, whatever the launch results previously have, it has an ARN of the agent. We use that agent. And I'm saying, can you not even told, can you 32 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit? That is the prompt I have given. And of course, I tried to mark down into the Fahrenheit. It marked down into the Fahrenheit. Mark down, sorry, I tried to create a markdown back and give us a proper response. So it says that 32 degrees Celsius is equal to the 89.6 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. So this is what we have deployed. Let me go to the AWS console and show you. Okay, let me go to the AWS console. If you go to the Bedrock Agent Core, you can see the Agent Core runtime. So I deployed multiple, but this is what I'm using for today demo. So here, agent details. If you go to the agent details, this is where the ECR image is automatically packaged. Yeah, it's around 150 MB file. It's taken some time for packaging. Okay. And let this be opened. I will show you. This is what it is. Endpoint. It automatically create the endpoint here. Okay. So automatically create an endpoint. And if you want to call via Boto 3, this is how you need to call the via Boto 3. Okay, we have created, we tried with the Boto 3 also, right? So now there is something called Agent Sandbox. Let's go to the Agent Sandbox, keep the latest version and prompt. Let's copy the prompt from here itself. Uh, I need to be in this format. Let's say, can you convert? Can you share my weight? Share my weight in LBS. Uh, my current weight is 68 kg. Also, I have mild fever. 99 point, say 100.2 degree Fahrenheit. You mean Celsius? Okay, let's give this as a prompt. Then now it is generating the output. Okay, sorry. Your weight is 149 pound. Your fever temperature is this, which is indeed a mild fever. Normal body temperature is this, so you are running slightly above normal. Good. Now let us go to the CloudWatch. This is the invocation happen. So model invocation you can see in our dashboard. So model in the last 5 minutes. Give it as the last 5 minutes. 1 second, give it. So this is the Strands cloud is the one we are checking, and traces. Let's go to the traces. If I go, it gives me the clear information. See, this is what I want to show you guys. It's an execute event count. So first it will give you the model which we are using on the net. You will see this. all the observability you can see from here. This I want to show you that agent, it invoked the tool. Okay. So color string, you can say the okay for our prompt, it used this tool. It started invoking the tool, whatever the tool we have created. This is the tool we have created, right? Unit convert will be used. It is using this. Let's take one more example. I want to show a different example. As a seven spans. Oh, okay. This is what I want to show. It created something called slash invocation. That is the endpoint. Whenever we are submitting the request, it just comes to the invocation, and it will give the all the information about what platform we are using and what is our which agent we calling. All the information be there. So this is an invocation start. And all the information, you can see it from here to send to the model. Okay. So and we will go deep dive into the observability in upcoming session, but this is what I can show you, that it will give you the complete traces of what tools it is using for each kind of invocation. So let's say we have multiple tools, it will give you the details of what tools it use for our use case. Okay. Okay. Few details. So this is a metrics. Last 5 minutes. Last 5 minutes. One error. You remember when there is an error happen, maybe cold start. This is the one place you can see. Session. 16 span. Let's go. Because it's supposed to call both the tool. That's what I want to show. Is called both the tools. See, this is one time it called the tool for the converting. This tool may be related to the finding the day, just converting the uh, finding the temp. This is what it is, right? It is using the unit tool, right? It's supposed to use the unit. Let's see what tool it's use. Yeah, it is using a unit converter. Yeah, execution tool unit converter. This also execution tool is unit converter because it has a two request. It is using both the requests. It is using separate one because we have two questions, right? It may be used one for a weight and another one for a temperature. So it exactly called the unit converter. We have one more, right? The finding the date. If you run that, if you give any prompt related to finding the date, it will give that particular date. So now with this trace, right, you can clearly identify what tool it was using and when it is started, when it get completed, all the information you can get it here. Okay. Okay. So this is a response you got it. Fantastic. Now let us go to the next one. Next one more demo, which I can quickly walk through. The next demo we want to try it out is we have tested with the strands, right? We want to do the same thing with the LangGraph. If I go, um, same thing. If we go, let us go down. I think I ran this, but let's double check it. Okay. Yes. Here I need to use a different requirement. Of course, we are using the LangChain and we are using the few more LangGraph and we are using the LangChain AWS library. Everything we do that from the LangChain perspective. And here, rather than the Strands framework, we are bringing the LangChain into the mix. But then here we are using tool called calculator, which will find the mathematical calculation. Okay. And we are also finding the weather. Here we're creating the agent. Still, in this part, first part, we have to do the development locally. Here we are doing the local development. So here tools are there. We're creating the agent and how we create in a LangGraph, right? It's like a graph. We need to build a graph. One, it's like a how in a Unix pipe system. Same way, we will first create the state for this, and it is act as a tool. So here you clearly mention you are a helpful assistant and you can do the simple math calculation and tell the weather. This is what we are giving as a system message for that particular agent. Here we have two tools. One is calculator, another one is a weather. Here we are using the AW, you are using a LangChain and we are using the Bedrock. We are under the LangChain and we are using this model. Okay, we are using a Sonnet model. Okay. And finally, we are building the graph. So creating a graph and we added node one to add a chatbot. Another one is to the tools. We adding both the one. Okay. We try to run the same. We create something called LangGraph Python, like how we create the entry point file, right? The same way we create the entry point file here. And then we ran this. What is the weather now? Just says the weather is sunny. And post that. Same exercise we are trying to do. We are using the Bedrock AgentCore app. Using that one, we are converting this as an application where we can portable to anywhere. And same way, we are having the same calculator and whether no code changes. If you see, there is no code changes. Here we go. Here we after creating we just need to initialize the agent. Previously also we can see in our local also we have created the agent, but we are testing it locally. Here what we are trying to do is we are just creating the same code. We are adding the entry point with that so that it will have a entry point for that particular file. And we just try to test it. Okay. Same thing. It create a file endpoint call slash in endpoint and then URI call slash invocation to access this agent. Now, after this, now we are running creating a runtime. For that, we need to create an image and do the deployment. First, we need to get IAM role, like how we created IAM role. Same way, we creating the IAM role and attaching the policy to the IAM role. The next one we are trying to do is the AgentCore runtime deployment. With the runtime, it is packaged this using a Docker container, configure and package it. So look at it, we are creating the runtime. In this, we just mentioning the same thing. Like previously, we are using a Strands, right? Here we are using a Bedrock as an entry point, giving the role and requirement file and everything. It automatically create a YAML file. Same way what we created, it create a YAML file here. Okay, here you go. And after that, I'm just launching the a runtime. When I launch it, it package it, push it to the ECR, and create the required runtime. It takes some time, and after that, you can see it is already deployed. Then I was asking some question called how much is 2 plus 2? If I ask this question, it will call the tool. If you go here, it will call the tool and give you the answer. See, the response is 2 plus 2 is 4. And yes, same thing we tested with the running with the Boto 3. You can try it and it will give a result. And if you go to the AWS console, you can see the agent runtime, agent runtime, LangGraph. You can see this information here and agent detail, view observability. But this one I ran long back. Let's see the results is whether we can able to test that result here. Okay, it's been more than my absolute absolutely 3 weeks. Only should show more than that. Okay, we can run it. What is stopping us? We can run this. Uh, Go here, stop there, and then LangGraph test. Go to the code, hit the prompt. as a JSON file. See, you guys, I'm gonna send these examples. These are all taken from AWS examples, okay? And I made some modification I was playing around with, and I will also recommend you guys to go with the same thing. And how much is 35 minus 650? Okay, run this. Minus 5. So now you can see last 5 minutes. Bedrock, AgentCore. Not sure whether I enabled the monitoring or not, but agent runtime. I don't see that particular agent here. I don't know why. Maybe I not enabled the monitoring. Oh, it's monitoring is enabled. Okay. I see only this agent. Yeah, it came here. Taken some time to reflect here. We go click on it. It has a tools, right? One for weather, another one for uh, the calculator, right? So if I go here, this one, this invocation is there. This is about session trajectory. Yeah, this is the trajectory, right? Give you which tool it is calling, how much time it take and everything. Everything you can see from here. But I want to see the traces. Let's go to and see the traces. Yeah, it's a trace. Oh, you can see here. It use a tool which is for the calculator. This is the tool it is used for the calculator. It ran today, right? Yeah, 9/7 September. This is what it is using. Okay. So that's all I want to show you guys for this session. And we calculate the results of the mathematical representation. It is using this tool for the calculation. Okay. Let us get down to the next one. Next topic of discussion is if you are seeing our session, this, as I mentioned, this is our first session, and we have a lot of upcoming sessions. So we are going to go for creating a custom agent development and creating using a memory to context our agents. These are all the next 5, 6 sessions we are planning. Then this is the session I'm talking about. the lot of projects we are developing using Agentic Core. We are planning to demonstrate it as an in-person event on the November 15th. Stay tuned on our meetup and looking forward your feedback and looking forward for your the future session. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.